Welcome. Today, we're going to finish up our three-part series on LinkedIn. And we were talking about how to use LinkedIn as this excellent networking tool, both for returning to work after a career break,
right,
or returning to work after a layoff, or even you're starting to think that maybe a layoff might be in your future. How do you use LinkedIn to network and find that next job?
Right. And there are places where you want to spend your time on LinkedIn, and there are places where you don't want to spend your time on LinkedIn. And so we're going to talk today about the value of endorsements and recommendations. So let's just start with the basics. What is the difference between these two things?
Right. Well, and they're very different, although the words sound really similar. So on an endorsement happens in the skills section. It's kind of towards the end of your page. And the skills section allows you to go in and check boxes of all the skills you have. As a hiring manager or recruiter, that doesn't carry a lot of weight with me, because if we're given a list of boxes to check, we're going to check as many as we can. I'm much more interested in what you, Kelley, tell me you can do, either in a skills section on your resume or in your about section. But it does have value because that section will drive recruiters to your page. And if you have a good page, you'll capture their attention. So as someone who knows Kelley, if Kelley lists a bunch of skills, I have the ability to go in and endorse them, which says that I, Susan, know that yes, Kelley does have good training and curriculum development skills. And I can go in and do that. Does it carry a lot of weight? Not really. Okay. What carries a lot of weight, though, is the recommendation. So a recommendation is me writing like a reference letter for Kelley that lives on her LinkedIn page. So the endorsement is me saying, yes, Kelley has a skill. The recommendation is me telling in my own words what makes Kelley so great.
Right. It's kind of like the stars on like a Google search versus like I kind of look at the stars, but really like when somebody writes something, I'm always digging in.
Good analogy. I like that.
Okay, so how are they valued? How are these things valued?
Yes, so the endorsements really don't carry a lot of value, because a lot of it is tit for tat. Will you check my boxes? I'll check your boxes. And as I said, the real value of that section really isn't the endorsements, but it's the value of the algorithm reading it and saying, oh, Kelley Biskupiak has training skills, so I'm going to go be driven to her page. So it has value kind of, but the recommendations have huge value. So that's me in my language telling the audience about how great you are. Now, the beauty of the recommendations section is that you as the user or the owner of the page have full discretion. So the way it works is I can say to Kelley, could you write a recommendation for me on LinkedIn? And Kelley goes onto her LinkedIn page and it says recommendations, write a recommendation. She clicks the box, she writes her recommendation. Before I have it on my page, it comes to me. So I can edit it, I can look at it. I did that recently with a guy who wrote all this stuff about what a great resume writer I was. And like, I spent this much time on his resume and this much time helping him learn how to negotiate. So I went back to him and I said, Tom, if you wouldn't mind, I really don't feel like the real value I offered you was in resume, it was more in negotiating. Why don't you talk about that? I've since learned that, and we tell our students this, that if I'm going to ask Kelley to write a recommendation, I'm going to write to Kelley and say, would you mind writing a recommendation and talking about how I helped you with A, B, or C, or how we work together on this project.
Refresh their memory.
Exactly. And sometimes even kind of give them some of the language. Because then it makes it easy for them. So once Kelley writes it, I get it. If I approve it, I select it and it shows up on my page. Now, a couple ways to use it. Well, obvious, if I'm a hiring manager and I go to Kelley's page and I see this person named Susan wrote her a great recommendation, that's kind of cool. But Kelley can use it. She can put it right on her resume, a link directly to her recommendations. When she's asked for references, say, here are three links to my recommendations that reside on my LinkedIn page. And when it gets towards the end of an interview relationship, people are really looking at that then. They're trying to pick typically between 3 or 4 somewhat equally skilled candidates. Those are the things that can really push one candidate over the edge.
So there you have it. Those are the ways that you can use endorsements or recommendations on a LinkedIn page. If you liked what you heard today, please subscribe and hit like on our YouTube channel. And you can also find us and more information about Prepare to Launch You at www.preparetolaunchu.com.